टेलीस्कूल तालीम घर घर। Ayubia, the local communities. Learning objectives. Predict the content of a text using prior knowledge, asking questions, and contextual clues. In the hills of the Galiat forests, in an area north of Islamabad, lies Ayubia National Park. Stretching from Islamabad to Abbottabad and Azad Kashmir, the park's towering mountains, evergreen forests, and clear mountain springs make it one of the most beautiful hill stations in Pakistan. It also contains a wide variety of species. We have a question for you. Where is Ayubia National Park located? A. In the hills of Nathia Gali. B. In the Deosai Plains. C. In the hills of Murray. D. In the hills of the Galiat forests. Option D is correct. The first sentence of the passage tells us that Ayubia National Park is located in the hills of the Galiat forests, in an area north of Islamabad. Let's go back to the passage. There are more than 50,000 people who live in the areas neighboring the national park. Every year, 60,000 visitors come to enjoy the park's natural beauty. Hosting such large amounts of people puts a lot of pressure on the natural resources of the park. The areas around the park are not very developed. The local population depends on the forest for their survival. They collect firewood and water from nearby forests. Local women work very hard. They go deep into the forest to find and bring back water and firewood for their families. They do this in the hot summers and the cold winters. How about another question? Predict the message of this text from these paragraphs and the topic of the text. A. We should do more to protect nature. B. Nature does not matter to human life. C. It is okay to kill animals and cut down trees. D. Humans are not responsible for harming nature. Option A is correct. From the title, we can guess that this passage is about the local communities of Ayubia. From these paragraphs, we know that the locals go and bring firewood from the forests to keep their families warm. This implies that they cut down the trees. The next paragraphs will most likely explain other ways in which humans are harming nature. Hence, we can predict that the message of this text is that we should do more to protect nature. Let's resume reading. In recent years, there has been an enormous increase to the human population. To build living spaces and homes for humans, large areas of forests have been cut down. This means that humans now live closer to wild animals. Cattle spend most of the summer grazing on the top of the Mashkpuri mountain. Leopards see the cattle grazing and follow them into the surrounding areas. But if humans are nearby, then they sometimes fall prey to the attack. To protect their cattle and families, sometimes villagers kill leopards found near the place of the leopard attack, but the leopard is an endangered species that we should protect. You guessed it, we have another question. Use contextual clues to determine the meaning of the word endangered. A type of animal or plant that has become very common and is at the risk of overpopulating a place. B. A type of animal or plant that has become very rare and could die out completely. C. A type of animal or plant that is very dangerous to humans. D. A type of animal or plant that local populations depend on. Option B is correct. The text says that we should protect leopards, which means they're neither dangerous nor very common. The locals don't depend on leopards as well and are killing them instead. Hence, the adjective endangered describes a type of plant or animal that has become very rare and could die out completely. So, where were we on the passage? Local communities depend heavily on the forest's resources to survive, but they threaten the natural beauty of Ayubia National Park and the wildlife that inhabits it. We can rescue the park from this critical condition while supporting locals to solve their challenges. Governments and NGOs are helping locals by providing other sources of energy so that they use less wood and by teaching them new skills so that they can make more money. Locals are being taught how to use the forest's resources properly and are encouraged to plant more trees. To protect the park, we must educate people on the value of our environment. We need to stop abusing the forests and stripping them of their wood. We should be mindful as we expand our living spaces into the homes of animals. Doing this would reduce the risk of wildlife coming into villages and attacking our community members. We can protect ourselves by protecting nature. Last question, we promise. Which of the following reasons is not a way that an increasing human population threatens nature? A. Humans are putting pressure on natural resources. B. Forests are cut down to build living spaces for humans. C. Humans are expanding their living spaces into the homes of animals. D. Humans have been planting too many trees. Option D is correct. The text tells us that humans are putting pressure on resources, cutting down forests, and expanding into the homes of animals. These are all different ways that humans are threatening the environment. The option, humans have been planting too many trees, describes a way to help nature rather than threaten it. NGOs are trying to teach local populations how to plant trees in order to protect the forests. That's it for today. मिलते हैं एक छोटे से ब्रेक के बाद। चलें अब चलते हैं वापस अपने लेसन की तरफ।
But this morning was different, disturbingly because mysteriously different. No wheels rumbled, no buses roared, no sound of car of any kind in fact was to be heard. No brakes, no horns, not even the clopping of the few rare horses that still occasionally passed. Nor, as there could be at such an hour, the composite tramp of work-bound feet. The more I listened, the queerer it seemed, and the less I cared for it. In what I reckoned to be 10 minutes of careful listening, I heard 5 sets of shuffling, hesitating footsteps, 3 voices bawling unintelligibly in the distance, and the hysterical sobs of a woman. There was not the cooing of a pigeon, not the chirp of a sparrow, nothing but the humming of wires in the wind.
Wow! What is that?
An excerpt from John Wyndham's novel, The Day of the Triffids.
So eerie. What is he describing here?
Well, the backstory is that this man is in a hospital recovering from surgery. His eyes are bandaged, so he relies on sounds to figure out what's happening around him.
Oof, how scary.
What I really like about these 2 paragraphs is that while he's describing what he hears in the present, he gives us a picture of what it was like in the past.
That's so true. The first paragraph is all about what he can't hear anymore.
Right. So we know from the fact that there are no sounds of any vehicles that he could once hear a busy street.
So he must have a window in his hospital room.
And the window must overlook a busy street with cars and trucks, blaring horns, the sound of people going to work, and even horses every once in a while.
And we even know that it must be early morning because he says he expects to hear the sound of people going to work.
It's incredible how much you can learn from a description of sounds.
And then, in the second paragraph, he's telling us what he does hear.
Shuffling sounds and people arguing.
But far away, not close to where he is.
I think the eeriest part is that even the birds are silent.
Oh, yes! That's what makes it really strange. Is this a horror story?
Science fiction.
A woman sobbing, people crying, and what are the humming wires?
Good question. I think he might mean power lines. This was written back in the 1960s.
Well, it really paints a picture, even if the only thing he's describing is sound.
Yes, it's kind of amazing. Descriptive paragraphs usually use different kinds of senses, and the most common senses are sight and smell.
Yet, with just sound alone, he's told us so much. Now I have to read the rest of this book.
I'll share it with you when I'm done, don't worry.
Teleschool. तालीम घर घर.
Dadajan, tell us a story.
Yes, please.
What kind of story do you want?
I want a story about a tiger.
How about a tale of 2 tigers?
Even better.
Okay. There was once a tiger who lived all alone. He very much wanted a friend, so he set out to find one. He traveled far and wide, crossed large forests and high mountains. He saw wondrous things, from peaceful zebras to wild wolves. He met a lot of animals, but he was looking for someone he could be friends with. One day, he came upon an elephant. He asked the elephant to be his friend, and the elephant said, "I am a powerful and mighty elephant. Why would I be friends with a tiger?" The tiger thought about this and said, "I am not a tiger. I am the tiger who traveled across the country in search of a friend. The elephant frowned. What? The tiger said, when I am one of 100 tigers, I am just a tiger. But as the tiger who traveled across the country, I am a specific tiger. The elephant looked thoughtful. And I am just a elephant? The tiger shook his head. You are an elephant, but you can be the elephant who is friends with the tiger. What do you think? The elephant loved the idea. The tiger and the elephant became best friends. The end.
I don't understand. Where are the two tigers?
Sarah, do you know where they are?
In the articles,
What articles?
a and the, a tiger and the tiger. The words a, an, and the are the words that come before nouns. They are called articles, and they tell us if we're talking about something general or specific.
I know that already. We studied articles in school.
If you see one tiger whom you don't know, then you would call him a tiger.
I saw a tiger cross the river.
But suppose you knew the tiger.
In that case, I saw the tiger across the river.
Yes. You had two tigers, a tiger and the tiger. First, he was unknown, so he was just a tiger. But as the story went on, he became a specific or particular tiger. He turned into the tiger.
That's sneaky, making me think there would be two tigers.
Articles are tricky. Do you know the rules for using them?
We use them before all countable nouns.
We use indefinite articles when we're talking about something general.
And we use a definite article when we are talking about a specific noun. We never use a or an with plurals.
We can use the with both.
We use a before words that start with a consonant and an for words that start with a vowel sound.
We don't use articles with proper nouns.
But sometimes we do, in special cases.
Yes, but almost never when talking about people unless we're using an adjective to describe them.
We use the when we are counting the order of things or people.
Oh my, so many rules. How are you going to remember them all?
Slowly.
With a lot of difficulty.
Or by writing stories and reading books.
That's what my teacher says too. Read stories.
Yes, Miss Asma also says that.
And your teachers are right. Stories are the best way to learn, and they're fun too.